And good afternoon, Kapla! We are here in Kerbal's space program. I'm Draken, this is Draken-Game-Werks channel. I am going to be streaming later on with... oh, hang on, I've got Right, I have my volume on and having an echo. We should avoid that one. It was echoing back in my ears. I really still am trying to get used to the streaming at the moment and trying to get there. But yes, I'm in Kerbal Space Program tonight. I'm going to be streaming back in Elder Scrolls Online with... we're going to be Tilan, Inklings, and Bearded Chegger all going on the run. They've invited me along as a tank as well, so that's going to be great fun. And of course, Somerset's out tomorrow for Elder Scrolls Online, so I'm going to be pretty much full on Elder Scrolls for a while. But this other game that I enjoy, this Kerbal Space Program, I thought I would just have a chill-in afternoon, having a look around the things we go here. So yeah, here we are, just as I started the last time I did Kerbal Space Program with my mock-up of the Enterprise in Kerbal Space Program. Here is a Kerbal Bird of Prey that I built. Oh, yes, the... So yeah, it's just a little thing that I built there just to start the stream off. Okay, so let's quit out to the main menu, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on with the career mode that I started the other day. Let's have a look. Yeah, yes, okay, yeah, but I don't need to show that again. Right, let's pop back. And we're going to resume my save of the Draken-Game-Werks program that I had. Now, if you saw my video the other day, I actually made it to... into orbit with my space rockets that I had built. I'd gone from beginning through to space rocket. Now I need to get to the Mun. That will be my next goal. So I think we've got here some for exploring the Mun and stuff. Fly by the moon, gather scientific data from the Mun, return a Kerbal from a flyby of the Mun. So we will take that one. What was our current active one? Ferry for tourists back to their destination. So fly by the Mun. Oh no, that's not what that one is. That one is, these want some orbital stuff done. So that's also quite handy to have. But let's take this one on. There we go. So we are going to be trying to get somewhere close to the Mun. Now I thought to do this, I'm going to need to be able to set waypoints and stuff like that. I can't currently do that because my tracking station needs to be upgraded. So I am going to upgrade this. I think it's... is it we can do it from that one, or is it... possibly this one? No. Administration building? No. Just seeing what the next part is on each of these. Now, I think it comes through tracking station, so we'll upgrade that. There we got unknown object tracking. So we should be able to, I think, hopefully set waypoints, because we now have the tracking station active on its next upgrade, I hope. But what we need to do now is build a rocket. That's going to take 4 of... because I'm going to need a bit more cash, and I need a bit more science, I think. Well, actually, let's try and see if we get a flyby done, actually, first of all. So we could do both at the same time. Now, last time I tried building a round craft. That, you know, it was alright, but it ended up crashing in the thing. Hey, Voldan, how you doing? Oh, you were saying that you made the most revolutionary combo on the public test server. That's awesome. What? Tell us about it. You say it's so cheesy. What type of combination have you got built there? Is it what's the build that you're doing, or is it just like a? You said the pair of you are there. Is it like a duo build or something? Just while you're doing that, I'm gonna just flick through and build a space rocket a second to see if I can get something again to something that can get to the moon, or the Mun as it is in Kerbal Space Program. So we're gonna need one of them. Definitely do it. Do a video on it and show it and share it up on the in the Discord. I would love to see that one there. Volodan's just saying about obviously how he's got this. He's out on the public test server at the moment for Somerset. That comes out tomorrow. Yes, very excited for that. That's going to be amazing. I am going to probably stream all week with just Somerset. I'm not going to want to leave, and I might not even want to sleep. I think I'm just quite excited to for that to be coming along, but. Yeah, so hopefully that sounds like it's some sort of build or something. Is it for your characters? What, with weapon and armor sets as well, and the traits and everything? Right, okay, just pop some parachutes on this thing, because we obviously want our Kerbals to come back safely, or we would hope, through the gravity there. Pop the light on, and we need, when we're bringing back through the atmosphere, always a good idea to put a heat shield on. Not that one's too small. That one. Okay, and let's have a look. So that's going to be our module that's going to come back through the atmosphere there. And let's have a look. We're going to need to put on our staging. So we need the rocket that's going to get us around into orbit there. So we need possibly, because we need to try and orbit the Mun with this one. I'm going to need a lot of energy on this one, I think. The thing is, I haven't got... I'm going to need to put a lot of batteries on here, I think. Because otherwise... Oh, hang on, I've got... Let's have a look. I have payload bays that we unlocked at the moment, so we can put a payload bay in there. Pop that on the bottom. So this Mun rocket, hopefully, will get somewhere close to it. Let's pop a science couple of modules in there, because we're going to try and get this around the Mun. It may not work, it may blow up on the way up, but this is quite often what happens in Kerbal Space Program. Let's have 2 of these. So trying to get some stuff that's going to gather some science. And yeah, we'll have 2 of these pressure science logs. And we'll have 2 thermometers as well, so we can grab the temperatures while we're out there. And I'm going to need a lot of batteries, I think. So if we keep that one like that. And we've just put another payload bay in the bottom here. This one is going to contain a load of batteries, I think, because I haven't got any solar panels yet. So all the electricity I have is what I bring with me, or that I get from using the engines and basically like having an alternator on your engine. So we want to make sure we got plenty of energy in there. That's a lot of batteries crammed in there. Possibly way too many, but never mind. That puts the weight up a little bit, but we're going to need a science module. There we are. Then we can put our rocket itself in there, and then we can put... We need an engine, so we want something that's a fairly nice space engine. So this one here. Push this up in the VAB. There's the vehicle build room where we will build it. And then we will just pop this on here. And we're going to pop another engine down at the bottom here. This is going to be our main engine for trying to establish an orbit, we would hope. Actually, I'm thinking we will make it go wider. And we will pop a few of these on the bottom. Probably not the best way of doing this, but still, whoever said Kerbal was doing the sensible ways of doing it. Actually, I haven't got a decent enough engine to put on there, so it's not actually a requirement. We can just go back to having normal engines like this. I really need some bigger fuel tanks, so I need to really unlock a lot more research. But this is going to be my first attempt at it, and hopefully we get somewhere close to the Mun, he says, trepidly. Coupling, so we want some big boosters on the side. As bigger boosters as we can manage. So we want something that will help us take off, like those. In fact, I want lots of those. We'll put them around the bottom here, and we want to try and make it as aerodynamic as possible. So we'll pop those on there, and we'll pop some fins. This is not the way you would see NASA doing it. It's just not at all. Right, let's give it a bit more support while it's going up. So a bit of structural support like that. That's looking all right. That's looking something like a space rocket somewhere along the lines. I'll put those on there just so it launches it nice and with a bit of stability in there. I'll just check my phasing down in the corner here. So these boosters need to activate all at once. Then we need to separate them, activate the main engine, separate the middle, activate the next engine, and then separate the top. And I just need to split up my parachutes so that the drogue chutes open first. And there we are, that's our staging done. So we will call this Mun, maybe? Mark 1. Our first attempt to get to the Mun, right. We should have our pilot in there. There's Jeb, right, okay. I I think we have everything set up on this. So let's have a look, see if we can actually get this one to launch, and if it'll actually get there in one go. Well, maybe. Or I could end up breaking it and destroying things and ending up in a big crash. So actually that's quite far up. I should have really put that bit further down, but never mind. Let's launch. So always nice when you're doing this, seeing the flame bursting forth from the bottom there as we head upwards. Actually, those 6 boosters, I think, were just the trick of what I needed for that. So let's see if we can actually get this, first of all, into orbit and then up to the moon. That'd be my ball there, gimbal navigation ball. Oh, above 5 kilometers already, that's cool. Making quite a fair bit of speed. Really need to think about doing a gravity turn right now. So hopefully those boosters will run out and oh, and it's not Kerbal unless you're actually going up so fast that your ship is pretty much on fire. And I just mucked that up. Something chronic. I lost the engine in the middle, so the engine didn't fire. This isn't actually going to get anywhere, sadly. So what I'm going to do is maybe just see if I can get some decent size from it at least before we bring it back down, because I can at least bring this back down. I think this is just going to go suborbital. In fact, actually, let's just... this isn't a no revert thing, so let's just go back to vehicle assembly and sort out that problem with that middle engine there. So what happened was these 6 boosters on the outside, when they ejected and blew up the engine that I needed in the next stage in the middle, which isn't good because that meant that the next stage couldn't fire properly. So to get around that, now there is later on, you can unlock these things that push the boosters a bit further away from the main body, so you've got a bit more space to get away. But as we don't have that at the moment, I am going to attempt a different way of doing it. So we'll do it off. Put some structures on here. Might not be so aerodynamic. There we go. But if we take this and put it back, this should at least hopefully be a bit more kin. So we want 6 of these. Just give it a bit more. And we don't need it so high up either off the launch pad, so that's a bit better, maybe a bit lower. Actually, apparently if you put it up higher it actually takes a little distance out, but it's got such a minimal effect. But let's just drag that in so it's a little bit better. There we are. Probably redo those struts there, they're just keeping it together. So this will be the Mark II, as the Mark I was a failure, unfortunately. And let's check the staging. Is that all still in good position? Yep, that's fine. Right, okay, let's launch. Off we go. Now, I don't think we'll get quite as high because the struts aren't really that great for aerodynamics. Hopefully it should keep them further away from the rocket body so that I can actually activate the main engine after the boosters are finished. And sending up. We're still getting that's hypersonic speed effects, so we are technically faster than the speed of sound right now. And then when it starts going red, we start hitting the hypersonic stage. If we hit hypersonic. Ah, yeah, just about there. Yeah. That's it. We now have the main engine active. Just being careful. We've got to start slowly tilting into orbit, but got to be careful not to push it too far, otherwise you start spinning and that becomes very difficult to recover from. But we should now be able to start pushing towards the horizon. And obviously, when you're flying a rocket, it's not just about going straight up. You need to also go sideways as well, because you're trying to go into orbit, not just get up into space. So in Kerbal Space Program, space actually starts, the atmosphere finishes at about 70 kilometers up. We are nearly there. And this second stage here that we've got powering us forward at the moment, it's about halfway through its fuel load. Let's have a look where we are in our actual orbit in the map. So we're not doing too badly. Let's get in there. I still don't have waypoints yet. I don't know how they are unlocked. Ah, it might be actually experience. So let's push this over. I thought it might be with the tracking station, but actually no, I might be wrong. It's not the tracking station. Maybe I think it's actually, you've got to have the astronauts to have the right level of experience to be able to set waypoints. Let's just check where our apoapse is. And basically what we're trying to do is make this circle actually reach all the way around. And at that point we have hit orbit. We might need to gain a little bit more altitude because we're losing altitude at the top thing. And we just lost our main engine. So we can activate that one. Get rid of that stage. It's a little bit more flexible. This may not make it to the moon. We shall see. Bring it back to there a little bit, just so we're gaining a bit more altitude and giving ourselves a bit more space, time to actually expand the orbit. We could possibly... yes, I know that. I shouldn't be that gang. It's just saying that where I'm using a special sped up effect can cause some problems, but that's looking better. We may actually make it. That circle is growing bigger. We just need it to reach. Still got a little bit more go. I think this won't make it to the moon, personally. Moon being over there. You can't stop laughing. This is your build that you're saying. It's just so comical at the moment. You really got to record that and show that vid. I want to see that vid now. You're making it sound great. Follow down. Right, just hit orbit. Okay, so we are now in orbit. How much fuel have I got left? Still quite a bit, actually. So that's actually quite good. So we need to set our target to being there. And you really need to be, as you come over the horizon, powering towards it. So we might actually be able to start powering now towards the moon. No, probably want another orbit, actually. So let's just take it on an orbit around. Just spin around Kerbal in a second. And what we'll do is, as the moon just starts to appear, just coming around the moon here. We're just waiting for the moon to come over the horizon, and then we can start pushing towards it. Because one of the most convenient things is that you could just literally just fly straight towards it, and it should push your orbit into something near to where the moon is. So he says, now not being able to see the moon. I would have thought it would shown up by now, but maybe not. Forget how big Kerbal is. There it is. There's the moon. Okay, so we need to fly roughly in that direction. Now this, because I haven't got any waypoints or anything else, I am literally having to eyeball all of this. So we may be lucky and get out there, or I may just end up nowhere near anything at all. Right, heading out. Let's just watch where my orbit goes to. And we need to speed that up a little bit. It might look like it's growing slowly, but it very quickly gets much bigger as you get closer to it. We just want to be careful as we're coming in there. Just touch off the throttle a little bit. Hopefully trying to get an encounter. Oh, that's getting good. There, we have an encounter. Excellent. We have too much of an encounter because this would actually crash us. That won't crash us. I don't think. I think we should. Just about, there we are. That's where we're 47 kilometers above the surface of the moon. That's good by me. I will do a quick save on that. So we may actually make it to the moon. How much fuel have I got left? I might have enough to get into orbit. And that would be awesome. Right, okay. So let's see if we can do it. This is such a basic rocket. I mean, I can't set waypoints. I barely got any of the tech unlocked. But we should, hopefully, I don't think we can even fast forward to it yet. No, we can't even do that. So we're going to have to manually fast forward it over that way rather than just go and warp to here, which just fast forwards it automatically in time until you get to the point where you need to. But I need to get into close proximity of the moon. You can probably see it there as we get closer. It's a bit of a wonky orbit to get in there, but hopefully, I don't know if there's fuel in the delta V, as they call it, which is the amount of fuel to thrust ratio there is. Hey, Atia Lan, how are you today? Looking forward to tonight with the runs tonight. I think it's going to be quite an enjoyable dungeon run tonight with the four of us, I hope. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great. But I thought I'd have a break from ESO this afternoon and play a bit of Kerbal Space Program, which is this one. It's my other big favourite game other than Elder Scrolls. I mean, I'm going to probably be quite Elder Scrolls down by the end of this week with Somerset. So I thought I would come in and do a bit of, well, rocket science. So there, right. I am now actually in orbit. Well, not in orbit. I'm flying by the moon itself. Coming in possibly from the wrong direction, actually. I really wanted to orbit the other way, but oh well, we'll do a backwards orbit. Let's have a look. So I'll see if I can capture it, get in orbit. Flying closer. Now I'd actually time this to be as close as possible. So, oh, actually he can do automatic to retrograde. Spin the rocket around. Fire up the engines and see if we can get an orbit out of this. Yeah, no, it's nice. Oh, actually, I just did. I gained an orbit. But yeah, it is nice, Tiana. Sorry, it sounds great to play other stuff. It is, I mean, I love Elder Scrolls, and I spend an awful lot of time playing Elder Scrolls Online. But I do enjoy other computer games as well from time to time. I mean, I play other things on the Xbox as well sometimes, and I got a few games on the PC. But the big two that I tend to flick back and forth between is Elder Scrolls and this one, Kerbal Space Program, from time to time. Sometimes you just need to relax by doing rocket science, I think. I'm not sure if that's actually a good way to relax, but I have just actually managed to make quite a nice achievement in that I've actually managed to get around the moon here, which is Kerbin's equivalent of the moon. So I'm not going to be able to land this on the moon. It's not got the system in place, but I do have the ability to get lots of science, which is what you need to progress, because you can't get more technology until you have the science. So we'll keep that experiment. It'll also give more experience to the astronaut on here as well. So he can do things like waypoints. Right, and that one, observe the material bay. So we've gained those. And I'm going to do a crew report. And all I'm doing here is just gathering as much science as I can, because we want to try and bring this back to the planet, and hopefully bring it back without crashing the ship back into Kerbin. We've still got to get back through the atmosphere. Let's bring it around to the day side a bit. There we are. I just want to check how much energy I got, electricity on board, because I've got no way to recharge my electricity on here other than through the engines when I fire up the engines. So I've got to watch how much I use. Actually, possibly just keep it on a more stable one there. What I want to do actually is I still can't but I need to upgrade my astronaut facility before I can take him out for a spacewalk. So he's stuck inside the craft at the moment, but I gained all the science from those, so that's me all sorted on that side. Now I got to work out how I'm going to get back to Kerbin without actually crashing it. This could be quite difficult, because I'm not sure exactly how to break out of the orbit just yet, but we'll give it a try. I got no waypoints that I can use to plot my path back, and it's all about orbits, so you got to learn how to do orbits, and it's all about just moving everything in circles. Let's just have a look, see if I can do it this way. Should save, really. Aha. Well, that's got me on a crash course out of Kerbal. Out of the Mun. I may end up having him distracted. Apparently, he'll actually come back around to the Mun. If he follows this orbit, he will leave, orbit around Kerbal, and then get caught by the Mun again. So, okay, let's fast forward until we're out of the Mun's orbit. And then, now we're there, we can try, see if we can bring this down. No, that's the wrong way. I'm pointing the ship the wrong way. I am going to be actually going the opposite direction to where I want to be. Let's see. I had an assist there. I should have used that, but... Just do it gently. Just see what we get to. I think I'm going to lose this ship. I've got myself caught back inside the Mun's actual trajectory. So let's get ourselves out of here. I think I've really mucked this up. I think I'm going to end up having this astronaut stuck out in space, going nowhere. Oh, hang on. No, we're getting it closer. Now, have we got enough fuel on board to bring us in for a landing? We need to bring that down inside the atmosphere. Come on, hopefully there's enough fuel. Getting closer. Down to 300, 200, 100. Yes, we're inside the atmosphere. So 70,000 is the atmosphere. You can use the atmosphere then to brake you, so that will bring you down safely. So that's that sorted. Okay. Let's fast forward it now back towards... I think I'm coming in at a really awkward angle. Oh, no, I'm not. Let's come around the back of the planet here. Just save that so I don't end up getting it wrong. It's apparently going to be there in about a day, so that's we've got to fast forward time that far. Right, press play there because we're getting closer. Right, let's flick into this view, and we're coming around the back of the planet here. And yeah, look, I got barely any fuel left in my tank down on the left here. It's got only the smallest smidgen, so that should be more than enough to just do a little bit of braking as we come in. But what I do need to do is transfer all that scientific data that I got back up into that one. And I should have taken some more data when I was out in the distance there, but we'll just grab some here now. Yeah, we'll keep that one. That's only a little bit of data. That's not going to really give us anything, but there's nothing else we could do with it. And log that as well. And we'll just capture all of that up there as well. What I'm doing here is basically taking all the scientific data. I'll just keep the experiments. Grabbing all the scientific data from this stuff that's on the rest of the ship. And just putting it all up into the top module here so that we can bring it back all the information safely, because I'm going to get rid of all the actual experiments before we actually land and get rid of this section, just to make the ship as light as possible. So here we go, and we're now back at the outer edge of the atmosphere. It hasn't started burning up just yet. It will do very shortly if we just speed up a little bit coming down first. So I'm doing about 3,000 meters a second. There we go, that's what we were looking for. So let's put some reverse thrust in a second just to use up the fuel that's left in the tank. Get rid of that a second. And then we're going to need to get rid of all of this bottom section as soon as we run out of fuel. And there we go. There goes the bottom section. And it's just the top section on its own with the Kerbal and the scientific data just hurtling through the atmosphere as fast as it can. Well, actually not as fast as it can. We're trying to slow down. So we're using the atmosphere as basically a brake, which is what causes all that heat coming off the back there. With a bit of luck and a bit hopeful, the idea is to slow down enough so that you can use your parachutes and come down safely. It may not. Right, that explosion you can hear and you can see just bursting off in the distance was that stage of the rocket we just chucked away. It got too hot because it doesn't have any heat protection at the bottom, and it probably just blew up. And in fact, you can see it's actually broken up into 2 pieces. This section is not so bad though, because it's got this great big heat shield on the front here. You can see it's got a blater armor on the front that's slowly being worn away by the heat there, but it's more than enough to keep it going through the atmosphere as we go through. It should be more than enough. And we're just trying to watch the altimeter at the top there, so we're now about 35 kilometers up, and we're watching the speed coming down to 2.4. We could probably speed it up a little bit here as we come down. And we're now descended to 2,000 meters a second, down to 30 kilometers. Brought it in quite shallow, so we've got using plenty of aero braking to bring us down, as they call it. And I think, actually, that's not bad, because that down there is where we took off from. I didn't do it on purpose, but I have nearly brought this back close to the Space Center itself. That is actually... I'm quite impressed with that. I did actually manage to get it near the Space Center. I don't think we'll get it to land quite on the Space Center. In fact, we're just slightly off, but we're not far away from the Space Center. That little lump of land, you can just about make out the runway down there as it's coming into view. And as you say, now we've got through the worst parts of it. I just want to try and avoid some of the stuff here. So let's put the drogue chutes out. This will slow it down a lot more. And then we'll just put the main chutes up as well. That's going to turn around and slow us down even more again. And now it's just bringing us down. And yeah, you can see in the background there. So they don't have far to drive to come and grab all their data and get the astronaut back to the complex. I couldn't have actually done that better if I'd actually tried. That was actually pure fluke at that stage, that I even managed to get to the moon, get it back to the planet, and actually get it to land. Without it, once you've got a bit more experience in the astronauts, or you've got more sophisticated robotic systems on board, you can have like automated pilots and stuff like that. You can start setting waypoints and everything else, which makes the whole working out where you're going to fly to and everything much easier to do. But until you've got enough experience in the game itself, you can't do that. So you've got to do everything by eyeball. So actually the most difficult point of playing Kerbal on career mode is when you start the game, because you haven't got all the good equipment, you haven't got all the experience or to be able to do the waypoints, or none of your buildings have been upgraded, so you can't do very big ships or much with it at all. Of course, you can play in sandbox, and most people do sandbox first, just to learn what they're doing before they get to the career mode. Kerbal Space Program has a very sharp learning curve. Right, okay, so it's now bringing it down nice and safely at a really slow speed now. We're about 3 meters a second, descending quite nicely on those parachutes. I'm actually running at 4 times the speed of the game itself, or times 3 the speed, yeah, times 4 the speed of what you normally run it at. What I will do is just before we land, you can see the shadow of it coming there, drop it back down to normal speed, just because sometimes Kerbal, in the old days, they got a lot more stable, but it used to glitch out. Sometimes you're running at extra speed at certain points. But there we are. We have successfully landed back on Kerbal. We should now, because we're not in space, be able to take him out for a walk and see if we can get an EVA report from him. Yes, we can. And we'll just drop him off here. I don't think I've got the ability to do a surface sample though. So no, I haven't yet. Not yet. So we'll get him back in, grab and climb back up, and we'll get him to board. So he's now back in, and we will recover our vessel, and hopefully got enough science to go on to the next bit. Or certainly try and do something next. So the next step, if straight off the bat we have managed to actually get an orbit of the moon, that's given us a shed load of science, 273. That's amazing. I've struggled with science before that mission, and now we've got 273. So the next step would be to land on the moon. Hopefully, if we can do that. So I think I still got a mission to do that. No, I haven't. So let's have a look. Science data from the surface of the moon. Science data from the space around the moon. So there's a couple of things. These are like quests. They're objectives for you to try and do. But I can only take 2 at a time, and I've already got 1 for Taurus, and I just accidentally got rid of 1 I didn't want to get rid of. Silly me. What I could do with is upgrading this place, and it's 75,000 to upgrade it. We just gained an awful lot of money from doing that trip around the moon, so let's upgrade that facility. Now we can actually take more. Yes, we'll take that one. What's the Explore Kerbal? Rendezvous 2 vessels in orbit. Yes, we'll do that as well, because that's quite a difficult one to do as well. Let's get rid of some of these. We don't need so many of these yet. Let's see if I can get another one of the Mun ones to come back up again. No, I lost the one that I wanted to keep, but oh well, that's me being a bit overzealous on my clicking there. Oh well, never mind. Right, so science. We have science, which we can now invest. We've got 273 science from that orbit around the Mun, and it costs us about 90 science for each of these upgrades on the next stage. Now, I could upgrade my airplane parts, but I'm not really starting to fly yet, so I'll leave those for a moment. And what I could probably do with is certainly get some bigger tanks. So that'll give me some more tanks to play with. Better payloading would be also good, and some proper landing legs as well. I probably can afford that sort of level of things. Just have a quick check here through what else is available. Landing cans, that would be good. We'll need that for doing the rendezvous. We also really could do with some solar panels. So I don't think really at this stage the best bet, I mean, I really could do with those payloads, but I don't think I can afford to have payload and the landing legs. I mean, do I have, I should have already landing legs already. Yes, I got landing legs on another stage, so I can skip having those. And instead, I definitely need that for the electricity, because I need to be able to generate electricity while I'm up there at the moment without relying on the engines. And I would go with either payload or more engines again, but all these structures and everything else that might make it a bit easier to take off, or maybe bigger engines. Let's go with more engines. You can never go wrong with more engines. This Kerbal space program. Right, okay, so we now got to try and build something that is going to land, and I haven't really got the right equipment for it properly yet still, but let's start brand new. Okay, so we'll start with what we're going to have to be is the landing section itself. And this will be, well, not too dissimilar to what we just had a minute ago, because it's going to be the bit that's going to be coming back through this, the final bit that's going to come back through the Kerbal atmosphere. So it's going to need to be carrying all the scientific data that we're going to gather, hopefully gather. So we're going to need one of those stuck on the top. We're going to put the lights on this one. Or do we take the orb type? We could take the orb type with us. No, we'll just take this module here. That's okay. Not get too much to think about it. Again, like we had before, we just need some parachutes on there. So we'll just put drogue chutes on and some main chutes. There we go. And that would be that bit. And we need a heat shield, obviously, because we're coming back through the atmosphere. And this is the bit, again, this bit like what we just had a minute ago. It's just going to be the bit that's coming through the atmosphere. But now we've got to build something that's going to be able to land on the Mun and take off again. I mean, that's the important bit, is it's got to be able to land and take off. And that's never easy. So we have a few more parts now. Do that bit there, and we're going to need, right, we now have our solar panels as well, so we'll put some solar panels on the side of our ship, so that way we can generate some of our own electricity. And in the middle here, I'm thinking what I'll do, this is a multiple stage thing. I've got reaction wheels as well, so they might be worth popping in at some point. So let's get a payload bay, because we need to take a load of science still with us, and we also need a science bay, because I want to get as much data from the surface of the Mun as possible when I get out there. We'll pop 2 of these on there, 2 of these in the bay. We'll also put 2 thermometers, and I'll also put, I don't need as many batteries now, because as I say, we can generate our own electricity, but it's still worth storing some electricity. So we'll put 2 batteries in there as well. That's all stored in the middle there. I'll put that back, close that, and now we need to put, this could be the other way around, there we are, that's better, and turn that around to there. Okay, we need some engines that are going to get us down and get us back again. So I'm thinking this should be multiple staged, and we put 2 booster rockets on the side here. We just put it at the side there like that, and maybe another one in the middle, something smaller like that. Actually, I think I know how we can do this. We'll do that, and we will put these on blast off pods. We'll just have the 1 engine for bringing us down, but we'll have 2 ejection pods on the side, and we'll carry extra fuel tanks that way. So these will break off as we use them. actually, have I got fuel lines? Yes, I do. So I can run a fuel line to there, and what this does is just transfers fuel from there into the central part. That will keep that bit done. We could really do with this being a bit more aerodynamic while it's taken off through the atmosphere, so we better put a couple of dump that one, the nose cones, and yes, that should keep it there. I would just maybe make it a bit more stronger by putting a structural support in there, otherwise they start breaking off. Voila! That will be what we will attempt to land on the Mun. It's not going to do very well because we haven't got any legs on it actually, so that might also be a good idea. Where are our landing legs? On there. Ah, yes, and we have rubbish landing legs. These are absolutely, they don't take any weight whatsoever. So we will use these. You see, it don't even come past. The way we can get around this, actually, is if I put this here. We're going to need to put another one here. We'll put 6 on here. Hopefully this will be enough to hold the weight of the craft, because they don't hold a lot. In fact, actually, we'll put a lot more than that on there. We'll put another 2, just because I'm very worried about these legs breaking, especially on landing. Okay, so they're on there, but what I will need to do is I want to bring these side pods down a bit so that the landing legs are beneath the actual engine. There we go. That works. That sorts that out. Great. Okay, so next step, we need to build the bit that's going to get us to the Mun. We could do with closing these legs up as well, actually, because we don't need to be flying with the legs down. Start them retracted. That'll be just a bit more aerodynamic. Awesome. Okay, so that's the bit that's going to get us back up into orbit, gets us landed, and gets us back to the Mun. That's going to quite a lot of demand on that, but we shall certainly see if we can try it. Maybe could have done with a bigger central bit, but hey, there we are. We can only all but try, really. And then we're going to need one of them. And we're going to build our main bit that's going to get us to the Mun itself. So, no, not one of them. We use one of them. And so we now have some bigger tanks available to us. In fact, we have a lot bigger tanks available to us. Let's have a look what we want. Something about that sort of size. Excellent. So this is going to be our second stage. This is the bit that gets us into orbit and tries and gets us to the Mun itself. So we need a good engine on there. And we now have some additional engines available, though that one's a bit too big. It wouldn't be if I used one of these. No, not that one. That one, maybe? Yes. There we go. So this is the bit that's going to get us to the orbit around the Mun. And then we need another decoupler, something that's going to get us up into space. Yes, these look nothing like normal space rockets that you'll find on Earth at the moment. They end up with all sorts of weird designs that might actually possibly be able to fly, but most likely couldn't. Right, okay, so we'll pop that there. This is going to be our main part to take off with. We're going to need some more engines. We're going to need some big, powerful engines. Skipper's alright, but they added something recently. I don't think I can use them yet. But there's like a structural thing there. It's just a structural fuselage at the moment, where you could actually put multiple engines off the same fuel tanks. So I haven't quite unlocked that bit yet. But we could put the Skipper engine on there. That will sort that bit out. And then if we get some coupling, if I'd unlock the other one, so we're going to end up with the same problem we had before. So let's do what we did before. And we're going to put these on there. So we can just hold these decouplers out there. And then we've got a bigger booster available to us. This is like the biggest booster, solid fuel boosters that you can get in the game. Though I have just mounted them upside down, which is not possibly the best way of doing them. So let's put them the right way up. There we go, that's better. And let's pop some of those on there. And we want it to be as aerodynamic as possible. And my game's just frozen again. This has been happening a lot on my PC in the last week. There we are, it's come back again, but I'm a bit concerned.